There's this little guy named Johnny who was a troublemaker and was continuously getting in trouble in school. He goes to his mom and he says, "Mom, I really want that red bike that I saw in the store." And the mom knew he had been in trouble, so she said, "Well, Johnny, why don't you go upstairs and write God a letter and tell God why you should get that bike?" So Johnny says, "That's a great idea." He goes upstairs, he writes a letter, he says, "Dear God, this is Johnny, and I have been really good, so I deserve that red bike. Will you please give me that red bike? Yours truly, Johnny." Time goes by, no red bike. So he decides to do it again. He knows he wasn't quite all that honest, and so he said, "Dear God, this is Johnny. I've been pretty good, and so can you please give me that red bike? Signed, Johnny." Time goes by, nothing happens, no red bike. All right, one more time. "Dear God, I've been okay, not perfect, I've been okay, but can you please give me that red bike? Signed, Johnny." Time goes by, no red bike. So he gets a new idea. He goes down to his mom. He said, "Mom, I want to go to church." He goes to church, or his mom said, "Okay, church is just right around the corner." They said, "Just, be back for dinner." So Johnny goes to the church. He goes down to the altar, and he swipes a statue of the Virgin Mary, sticks it in his coat, and runs home. And he said, "Dear God, I have your mother. If you ever want to see her again, send the red bike. Sincerely, you know who." Johnny's a lot like us sometimes, bargaining with God, but he knew how to get to the heart of God was through his mother. Oh man, there was a mother in Scripture who had a big heart for her son, just like so many moms do. In Exodus chapter 2, there was a lady, she was Moses' mother. You all know how significant Moses was in the Old Testament. Well, prior to her giving birth, the orders had been given for all male babies to be killed. And so picture this mom's dilemma, all the Jewish male babies. Picture this mom's dilemma. There she is. She has her child, and it is a boy. And what is she going to do? She did what a lot of moms do whenever there are forces all around trying to destroy their child. There are forces all around today trying to destroy this young generation, trying to destroy your child, trying to get to your child. The drugs today are crazy, man. The stuff they put in them, the things that they do, it is just crazy. The havoc that those things reap. Not only that, there's so many other forces all around, those that we love, especially our children and the young generation, that is seeking to destroy them, just like those forces were in Exodus chapter 1. But this mom, she steps up and she does something about it. I'm going to read the verses and starting in Exodus chapter 2, verse 1. "Now, a man of the tribe of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months." There's two things. She saw he's a fine child. She hid him for 3 months. "But when she could no longer hide him, she took an ark of bulrushes for him and dabbed it with asphalt and pitch and put the child in it and laid the reeds by the river's bank. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him." So what did this mom do? These forces were trying to destroy her child. She hid the child as long as she could. So what does that mean? A good mom, a good parent, they know when to hang on. She hung on to that child and she protected him as long as she could. You see, because the thing about it, she saw something in him, and a lot of times, our moms will see things in us long before anybody else does. Sometimes, the world is ready to wash us off and wash us away and just kick us to the curb. But you can guarantee that your mom will see something in you that nobody else does. The way that this mom did, she saw that Moses was a fine child. Another translation says she saw that he was a special child. She saw in him what other moms or what other people didn't see. She saw it before other people saw that. That's indicative of a great mom. But she held on to that child as long as she could. She held on to it for 3 months, you know. And there are times whenever things are trying to destroy us, destroy our future, that we have to hang on and not give up as long as we possibly can. You know, there are times we're tempted to throw in the towel and give up on that child, or give up on that family member, or give up on that friend. You know, and there's a time whenever, you know, we just need to hold on tighter. You know, she hid him for 3 months. This mother protected her child. She did all she could to provide him with a good future. She didn't want his future destroyed. She didn't want her child dead like everybody else. So she hid him for 3 months. Now, the thing about hanging on is that there's a time to hang on, and then there's a time you have to let go. And that is when it's hard. There's nothing more difficult than letting go of that person, of that situation, of that idea, when you've done all you can, but yet there's nothing else to do. And to hold on just enables or perpetuates a bad cycle. She not only knew when to hang on, but she knew when to let go. Let me tell you something about letting go, though. Been in situations before where it was the hardest thing that I ever did, but guess what? It was the most liberating thing as well. Sometimes letting go, it lifts such a huge burden. You know, this mom had did all she could do, and there was nothing else she could. It's a point to where the child was getting older, and they would have found him, and they would have killed this child. And so she had to let go. Can you imagine the faith and the trust that it took for her to make that little basket and put, you know, all that stuff, that waterproofing material on it, and put her baby in a basket and put him in that river and send him down there? She knew that he had a better chance doing that than if he would have stayed. She couldn't hide him anymore. But can you imagine the faith and the trust that it took for her to do that? That is the best indication of a great mom, a great dad, a great person in general, to have that kind of faith and trust in God, to say, you know what, God, I did all I could do. I've got to let go. It reminds me of a story in Acts chapter 27. You see, in Acts chapter 27, you know, they were tempted to hang on to something. They were trying to hold something together that was not going to stay together. And sometimes in life, we try to hold relationships together. We try to hold, you know, our future together as we want to see it. And it's not God's will for that thing to be held together. See, in Acts chapter 27, what happened is these guys had ignored Paul's warning, and they had set sail. It was in a very dangerous part of the season whenever hurricanes, you know, would pop up. You know, they didn't have the weather prediction instruments back then that we have now. And so Paul warned them and said, men, you know, this large ship held 276 men, or 276 men were on board. You know, men, if we set sail, danger and disaster is going to happen. But they ignored Paul. They ignored that man of God, and they set sail anyway. And to start with, the Bible says, we thought we had attained what we hoped for when a gentle southwest wind blew. To start with, things seemed okay. You know, things were fine. But then all of a sudden, this monster hurricane blows in, and that ship is caught at the mercy of that storm. That ship, they can't go back now, and they can't go forward. They're just stuck. They're at the mercy of that storm, and they're doing everything they can. You know, they start throwing things overboard, you know, trying to lighten the load because they were scared to death that ship was going to bust up and fall apart. You know, they were throwing lines out, letting the ship, you know, float over them and try to undergird the ship. And ultimately, though, it wasn't God's will any longer for that ship to stay together. God knew to get Paul where he was intended to be, that he was going to have to get him off that boat, and the only way to do that was for that boat to be destroyed. And so, you know, my point is they were trying to hold on to that ship. They were trying to hold something together that was meant to come apart because God had a better plan. See, they were going in this direction, but God needed them to go in this direction, and that ship was in the way. It's like sometimes bad relationships are, or bad habits, or things like that. And so they were trying to hang on, or they should have been letting go. Well, after about 2 weeks of this, the Bible says that sun and stars appeared for many days, and all hope that we'd be saved was finally gone. And picture them, they're kind of like Moses' mom there. They did all they could do. They held on as long as they could. But these people now, their hope is gone. They're in the midst of that raging storm, and all hope that they would survive is gone. But then Paul stands up as he had heard an encouraging word from an angel of God and was told that everything was going to be okay. And Paul stood up and said, men, it's going to be okay. There's not going to be any loss of life, but only the ship. And so most of the men believed that. But there was this couple that just insisted on not believing. And so they go forward, and they pretend they're letting anchors out. They're trying to get on a lifeboat and let it go and get off. And Paul discerned what was going on. And he said, men, unless you stay on board, these other men cannot be saved. And so they cut the ropes of those lifeboats and let them float away. They let go. And whenever they did that, those lifeboats represented their way of trying to get to safety. It represented their way of trying to, get out of that mess that they were in. But see, here's the thing. Their way had gotten them in a big mess anyway. And whenever they took a picture of that out on a big, huge, old Victorian-style wooden ship, cut those lifeboats away and said, it's like saying, God, I made a mess of things. This is my way of doing things, and it made a mess. Now, I'm going to cut it away. I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to fully trust you. When those lifeboats, darted away in those rough seas, it's like saying, God, I surrender. I let it go. I'm no longer going to try it my way. I made a mess. I'm going to let go, and I'm going to let you do what you need to do. And see, Moses' mom recognized that that's what she had to do. She held on as long as she could. She protected her child. She provided for her child. But she knew when to hang on, but she knew when to let go. And she had the faith and the confidence and the trust to do that. And so she let him go. I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what happens when we let go. I've been in that place in Acts chapter 27 where I had to let go of, the most important thing at the time to me that I ever, had or had been a part of. And in doing that, it was hard, but it was so free and so liberating. There was no longer any torment. There was just a place of absolute truth. I like to say that the next day things changed. It took a while, but I can tell you today, I'm glad that I did let go. I can tell you today that Moses' mom would tell you, hey, I'm glad that I let go, because Moses was raised in that Pharaoh's home and educated, got the best education he could possibly get. Not only that, but whenever she put him in the Nile River, the Pharaoh's daughter drew him out, and Moses' sister was there. Said, "Hey, will you go find a Hebrew lady to breastfeed this child?" And guess who got to feed that child? Moses' mom. And so ultimately, by letting go, she gave him an amazing future. Moses became the greatest deliverer in the Old Testament, and that is what happens whenever we hang on as long as we can, and we don't give up until there's nothing else we can do. But when it comes that time, we have the faith and the trust in God to totally let go. You'd be amazed at what God can do. The Bible says that He's able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that we can think or imagine. And look, whenever you let go of whatever you're holding on, whether it's a person, whether it's a habit, whether it's a perspective, whether it's a dream that may not be, maybe hold together a dream that is not meant to be held together because God has something better. Whenever you can let go and you see what God can do, you're amazed. And so today, I'd encourage us to be like Moses' mom. See the potential in people. Look for the potential. Don't look for the bad. Look for the good in people. Look for their potential in what they do. Don't look at their past, or don't look at, look at the potential that they have in their lives. There are even, in our small crowd this morning, y'all know that your moms saw potential in you. I know my mother-in-law saw potential in Craig. I know that she saw that. I know Brandy saw that, and look at where he is at today. Jake's out of town today. His mom never stopped praying for him. Look at where he is today. She had to get to a place where she let go at one time. God has a plan and a purpose, and we have to, sometimes just let go and say, God, I'm going to trust you and then watch what he does. God honors faith. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. But whenever you have that kind of faith, when you can let a child go, that is the epitome of unconditional trust and faith. And that is where I pray that every one of us can be. The first step in doing that, though, is letting our own lives go and say, God, I want to live completely for you, a life fully surrendered to you. I did it my way, I made a mess of things. Now I'm ready to cut those lifeboats away and just let you be in charge. With Paul and them, he took them up. God, the ship was destroyed, but he directed them through broken pieces of board and everything else to an island called Malta. And there was a man who was going to die, but Paul healed through the power of God, because there was a work over here. When you can let go of the things that hold you back or endanger your future, or you can let go of that person, or you can let go of whatever it is that's time to let go of and trust God, man, watch what God will do. It may not be overnight, but hang in there, have faith, and be, just stand back and watch what he does, because God truly is able to do more than you could ever think or imagine. But you got to give it all to him and let it go. Have that same kind of faith that Moses' mom had. I'm going to leave it there in prayer. Kathy, there's a song on the computer. You'll play it. I'm going to close in prayer. Father, I thank you for the wisdom and the faith that this great mom demonstrated, Lord. And God, we know that Mary also had to let go as well. She had to watch her son beaten and rejected and tormented, and yet she let go and she trusted you. And though her son died,